Firstly, let's look to what is the new public management. The concept of the new public management was introduced by the scholar from the UK and Australia, called N. Jackson, who were working in the areas of public administration in June 2015. This term was introduced as to propose a new style of view organizational design in the public sector. The new public management system emerged in 1918, which is for ensuring the efficiency for the government can be enhanced by following the idea and the management of the public sector. And next, let's look what is the corruption. Corruption is about the dishonesty or the criminal that includes a person or the authority guide in order to gain a big benefit or their personal purpose. In Malaysia, there are many issues that are related to the corruption involving the high-rank workers in the public sectors, politicians, and cronyism. And so now let's look what is the relation, the new public management with the corruption. The relationship between the corruption and the new public management can be seen by the difference of the scope of job between the public sector and the private. This issue began when there was a close relation between the public servant and the private contractor. This relation may lead to pleasure and involve the payment of the contractors. Hence, the system that involves the activities such as rewarding the great performance workers, tendering the project, contracting the project, and so on. And all of that activities may the causes of the participation in the corruption.
According to MACC in 2021, in 2019, the Corruption Perception Index CPI in Malaysia was placed at rank 51 compared to the previous year, which in 2018, which at rank 61 out of 180 countries. The existence of corruption among public personnel can hamper the new public management NPM model. The link between corruption and NPM can be said from the involvement of third parties in a contract or project who are directly involved as suppliers. Political influence should not be given priority in awarding a contract, but the qualification and accountability of the third party in carrying out the trust and duty should be assessed. Besides, the attitude of public personnel who take the division of contract lightly through direct negotiation should also be taken into account. The reason for this direct negotiation that claimed by the public personnel is to reduce costs and to speed up the contract awards process. The direct negotiation can lead to backdoors deal, which are the project that tends to be awarded to political cronies. Therefore, open tenders is the best ways to ensure transparency in carrying out a project. This is also to avoid issues such as corruption, prioritizing projects to cronies, and so on.
There are several factors that contribute to the corruption in NPM. The first factor is low level of democracy and low political transparency. Weak democracy due to weak national leaders. Malaysians have a responsibility to elect leaders who are free from corruption and abuse of power to save the country. Besides that, low political transparency is able to contribute to corruption. This is because there are politicians who will do anything to gain the power and money. For example, the case involving politician, which is the 1MDB scandal, where it involved national politician, the former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Razak, involving the government fund of 2.28 billion ringgit. The second factor is lack of accountability among the employees in government office. Corruption can occur due to lack of accountability among the employees in government office. Accountability is one of the important principles and component of a good governance. A good accountability system can be implemented in government office if the leader is able to perform his leadership role effectively. Thus, all the lack of accountability issues that arise among government employees can be reduced. Lack of accountability among employees in government officers can occur due to the interference of political power, the static of organizational structures and policies, and also low financial resources and manpower. Lastly, weakness of law enforcement according to corruption. Malaysia already has law enforcement for those who participate in the corruption, but it is not strong enough to stop them and avoid the people involved in these negative activities. There have been several corruption cases involving the authorities successfully detected. One of the cases is corruption among senior police officers. The retired Malaysian Police Chief Abdul Hamid Badur has claimed that there were retired senior officers that are still trying to enforce their power in getting help from the police. This shows that law enforcement is not strict, so that the enforcers themselves are not afraid of the law.
One of the effects of corruption in NPN is reduced public trust to the government management. NPN was supposed to be an approach that is used by the government to prioritize the public and be more open. The facts of the matter, the government has been trusted to deliver service and provide welfare to the public, and moreover, the welfare that has been provided is using public money that has been collected from the public through the taxation. However, even though the government system and process are believed to be more open and effective than before, the corruption cases involved in the public sector keep rising from day to day. One of the corruption cases that government administration that recently happened was the case of the deputy head of the government department who failed 46 corruption charge on him. And the most memorable cases of corruption is the involving of the former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tan Sri Najib Abdul Razak, in the 1MDB corruption cases, which through all these corruption cases that mostly involve the government authorities, it make the public trust on the government management fading. The second effect of corruption in NPNs is the possibility of the government project is to be abandoned and wasted is high. As we can see, every year the government has provided an allocation of the budget for the implementations of programs and projects which are usually for the public good economic plans to carry out. Government have set the time management that the project needs to be completed on a certain date and year. However, if the correction happen on the project, it will change the duration that has been set on the plan. For example, we can see the Penang Undersea project under Lim Guang Eng. The project has been carried on 2040, if I'm not mistaken, during the range of the Barisan Nasional, and supposed to be completed in this year or maybe earlier. However, due to the Lim Guang Eng, the authority that is responsible for the project has been accused of corruption in the project, which the Penang Undersea Tunnel project. It caused the project to be suspended until now, and the result of the suspend, it also delay in the delivery of service to the public and also a waste of the government funds. The third effect of corruption in NPN is reduced foreign investor trust to Malaysia government management. One of the way of government to show their prioritization of the public is by introducing more future plans and projects that could facilitate the public. Most of the projects introduced by the government consume about million to billion for each project. This causes the government require investor in the project to accommodate the fund to carry the project. However, due to the corruption cases that involve government projects being too high in Malaysia, it makes the foreign investor does not want to take any risk, since they perceive that Malaysia's government management is getting worse and cannot be trusted. Therefore, they take the approach to invest in other more potential countries and have better government management.
Resolution of corruption in MPM. The first solution is formulate and improve effective policy to fight corruption. In Malaysia, there is still a lack of policy related to anti-corruption. It causes the effectiveness of government action in controlling the issues of corruption is still weak. Therefore, the formulation of more anti-corruption policies will enable the government to address the problem more seriously. Besides that, on the existing policy, the government needs to improve the policy to ensure that it can provide an impact in tackling the issues of corruption. Improving existing policy is one way to show that the government is always sensitive to weaknesses in the policy. With NPM reforms, the improvement and effective policy formulation can overcome or reduce corruption in the public sector. In the second solution is strengthening the integrity culture in the public sector. The lack of integrity in the public sector make them more vulnerable to corruption. This is one of the solutions that can be taken by the government in ensuring that the problem of corruption in the public sector can be reduced or addressed properly. In fact, such a way can ensure that the NPM reform does not affect the high rate of corruption in the country. So integrity can be strengthened by always practice a strict and disciplined work ethic. It can reduce corrupt activities in the public when each party plays a role. This shows that a culture of integrity is needed an organization to create an environment that is transparent and clean from all crime. The third solution is creating a fair and transparent public procurement system. In fact, public procurement is one of the largest sectors in the public sector operation after the NPM reform, but it also a major contributor to the increase in corruption in the country. Therefore, creating a fair and transparent public procurement system is a solution that can help the government in addressing and resolving corruption in the public sector. Creating a procurement system that focuses on transparency, accountability, and objectivity principles are important to ensure that the government development policy and objectives are implemented in more orderly and controlled manner. In addition, this procurement system can be made transparent and fair by implementing a clearer transaction process and disseminating it to the general public to ensure that no abuse power and corruption occur in the process.
In conclusion, as we can see, the purpose of emphasizing the new public management is not in line with the target due to some abuse that occurred whether among the public servant or the private sectors. There are certain irresponsible people who are trying to take advantage to gain their own interest and hide profit for themselves. Because of that, are we truly ready for applying this management for our government service due to many issues that our country has faced, especially on corruption?